Welcome back. We welcome Dr. Joani Jack to our program. She is a pediatrician at T.C. Thompson Children's Hospital, and we're going to talk about the American Academy of Pediatrics recommendation that some children as young as 8 be given cholesterol-fighting drugs. Why?
Well, because things are just continuing to get out of hand with the obesity epidemic, and then the side effects of that, which include hypertension, and we're seeing more and more older adolescents and more young adults with the side effects of long-term effects that are resulting in heart disease.
So do they feel that by starting these younger that it can curb a lot of that?
Well, that's the feeling, and the important thing about these new recommendations, the medication recommendations have gotten the most attention, but they still begin by recommending routine screening, and that this is treated with diet and exercise first.
Diet and exercise first.
Exactly.
We've heard that story before, haven't we?
We have, and so it's important to realize that it's not something that they're saying just jump straight to medication.
Yeah.
And so we start screening earlier now than ever before. We begin screening children as young as age 2. The new recommendations also recommend that for families that have a history of obesity or other risk factors, that their children, once they're weaned from formula or from breast milk, that they actually go ahead and institute lower fat milk even as early as a year of age. We used to do whole milk up to age 2.
Yeah.
And so that's a newer recommendation also because there's such a high intake of fat and saturated fat in our country.
All right, but if a child drink milk the way they're supposed to, wouldn't that be better for them as far as building their strong bones and they're young?
Well, the only difference in the whole milk as opposed to the lower fat milks is just the fat. So the calcium and everything that's good for you is exactly the same. But in the past it was felt that children were in such a time of rapid growth that they needed the higher fat content. But because the American diet is already so high fat, then children with a family history of obesity are recommended to go ahead and start the lower fat
All right,
milks.
we're talking about high fat and things like that. Tell me about your book. It contains info on what?
It does. It's Raising Fit Kids in a Fat World, and it talks about really practical ways that families can make simple changes, subtle changes that they can maintain for the rest of their child's life. And basically, you learn to eat less, you learn to eat better, and you learn to be consistently active. And that's what we call the Fit Kid Triangle, and it's just very simple stuff, practical stuff on ways that you can do that. And one of the most important ways that we teach kids to eat less is by learning to pay more attention to their natural cues of hunger and fullness, which all children are born with. Little infants, they know when to eat and they know when to stop. When they're full, they just quit eating. You can't get them to eat anymore. But we teach children fairly quickly to eat when they're happy, and to eat when they're sad, and to clean their plate, and to eat because we said it's time to eat. And so they begin to lose that sense of when they're hungry, physically hungry, and when they're satisfied.
Now, I've always heard, is this true, whether I guess adult or child, that if you will eat a moderate amount, that if you'll wait 20 minutes, you'll find you're full and you don't want to eat anymore?
That's exactly right. And there is a lag time to when you truly feel fullness. And part of the problem in our country is we eat too fast. Oh, yeah. And so we blow right through the whole meal. By the time we realize that we're stuffed, it's too late. We've already overdone it. And so one of the things we talk about is giving children an atmosphere. Sit down at the table together, eat slowly, spend time talking together as you eat, turn off the TV, so that they can eat slowly and they can start to feel that satisfaction and quit eating earlier.
That's very good. We're going to get a copy of the book.
Amazon.com, local bookstores, pretty much everywhere.
Good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now let's join Mr. Food in the kitchen, see what he's up to. It looks like it says the Superfood Group. Wow.